You found your glasses. Look at that. Oh, here we are. We. Good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Dose of Dallas, and
Dude.
yeah, today we're going to interview for Black History Month Chris Kavanaugh, also known as Chris Photos, also known as Chris Photo Studios. Oh my God, I'm excited about this. So let's add him to the mix, shall we? I feel so silly.
No, it's no.
What am I doing? There he is. Good God, you didn't give me a chance to do it. Good morning, everyone, and there he is.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
What's
Thank
going
you
on,
for
Chris?
joining us.
How are you guys?
Is
Thanks
it
for
my
having me.
imagination, or are you losing weight?
Listen, I am almost 60 pounds down so far.
Because your
Nice.
face is looking snatched.
Listen,
Well,
we're trying. How
we
are you
can
guys?
see it.
Thanks for
We're
having me
doing
on.
good. So you're the one that's going backwards on the COVID weight. All of us are looking like pumpkins.
Listen, not pumpkins.
So you're
It's,
really, really looking great. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for allowing us to give you your flowers
Yes.
thank you.
for Black History Month. I put my feelers out there, and I was asking people. You know, we're trying to get our black list together. This is the time where the black list is a good list.
Absolutely.
And they said, I want Chris. So I said, okay, it's time for us to hit Chris up. So Chris,
Listen, well,
all
I'm
about
thankful
you
that you
today.
guys did.
Well, thank you for that.
Thanks for joining us.
We have you for an hour.
Heck
And
yeah.
let's get down to the nitty gritty. Who the fuck are you?
Listen, I am fucking Chris Kavanaugh. I am from Charleston, South Carolina. I
Okay.
would say my original place of where I come from is a small town called Walterboro, South Carolina. But I've been living in the city of Charleston, South Carolina for almost 12 years now. And I come from a small town where it wasn't a lot of creativity. It wasn't a lot of what I do now there. And a lot of the scene and a lot of people who, where I came from around were plant workers or, your regular 9 to 5 people who, were hardworking people of, the country. And I was a guy who had a dream. I wanted to be in Los Angeles one day, shooting famous people and using my creativity. I started off wanting to be a fashion designer, actually. And after I saw how tedious that was, I was like, that ain't my calling.
So you mean to tell me you didn't want to put in the hard work that was needed to be a fashion designer?
Not at all. And I was tired of getting my fingers stuck by needles.
With needles and stuff? Right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm over it. But I took that love of fashion design and who I was inspired by. And back then it was just, coming out of high school, America's Next Top Model and all of these different things. And I was like, you know what? I've always been a kid that had a camera in my hand. Let's just use it to start, pairing the two between fashion design and actual photography as well. And from that, it went from bringing my equipment to high school to shoot my friends. Then it went to, going to agencies to expand the portfolio and develop the quality.
Were you expanding your portfolio down there, or this is after you left?
Well, I started to expand my portfolio down here.
Ooh,
Listen,
okay.
yeah, it was a lot of work. And at the end of the day as well, I mean, I was very, very different back then, just starting off as a photographer, moving to a new place. I always knew that this was my ticket to be able to do something, great and make my point in the world. And I always knew I wasn't a school person. I literally got kicked out of high school. My teachers told me if I didn't have my high school degree, if I, left high school, all of that, that I would never become a success. I would never do the things that I've done so far. And I was like, you know what? I'm not who they say I am. I am who God said I am and who I believe that I can be. So I took that and I just started to go full force in my photography. And it's kind of brought me to, where I am now. And I'm still young with it. I just turned 29 January 1st and I got a ways to go.
Nice.
Listen, I feel like after doing this so long, I think when I first came into the industry as a photographer, you and Dae were the first Black photographers I saw. And it was another guy on YouTube as well, Matthew Jordan.
Matthew Jordan Smith.
Yes. And I was just so excited to see two Black men out here like photographing and doing great things in the industry, because back then it wasn't a lot of diversity.
Thank you.
And I mean, even just at this time, we got ways to go, and they're finally opening doors to like do that. But you know, it was just great to see you and, you know, Day and some other photographers that I saw as well, you know, from Atlanta and so on and so forth. So, yeah.
Wow.
It's we're like unicorns in our world, and people don't believe it. So when we see each other, people that do the quality of work that we do and the type of work that we do, meaning commercial work, fashion, and beauty and stuff like that, we try to gravitate towards them because
it's not many of us out here.
or there's not
not.
many of us seen out here because with the with the death of George Floyd, and with the rise of like Clubhouse, it bombarded me with there's a lot more of us out there. We just didn't know we existed.
That
we weren't getting the shine.
Yep.
So I'm glad that we're getting the shine. So tell us how so are you living in New York or California?
No, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina right now.
I thought you moved out. Oh, my bad. So I thought you moved out.
I'm actually getting ready to relocate to Los Angeles by December. Yep.
Ooh.
Nice.
So I'm excited. I'm like,
let's get our work done because once he arrives, we're going to be working. Why California, not New York?
you know, I at first wanted to go to New York because I bought into the whole thing of fashion, and that's what my first love was, fashion photography. And I, even just to this day, I love fashion photography, but I was like, at the end of the day, I love shooting famous people, and I love, I love we're all sometimes narcissistic when it comes to, you know, this industry. You cannot be a creative and not be narcissistic.
There's a little bit of
love
that in all of us.
Comes with that, you know, with developing your portfolio and just being able to express yourself with people you see and are inspired by, you know, over the years that you've seen on television. And I was like, I can take what I do as a fashion photographer and do the same thing in that same light with celebrities, you know.
You'll see.
Right. I mean, listen, sometimes it's hard, but you know, I say for the most part, I just love being able to photograph them in that light and being able to work with influential, powerful people, you know, and show my perspective of how I view them through my lens. So I thought that LA would be a perfect place to expand in that. And then also education. You know, a lot of like this year right here, I wanted to change my entire brand to not just be a photographer, but really start giving and pouring into other people with what I've learned and accumulated, you know, over the years as a photographer. My entire, you know, career has not been the like quote unquote ideal of how you get there, but at the end of the day, if I can show photographers who come from a background like me, you know, how I did it, and you know, if they go further or wherever they take it, you know, that's my whole thing. So I felt LA would be the perfect place to be able to create content and shoot in the lane that I desire to do.
How does it feel being where you are and not being in a place like New York or LA? Do you find yourself having to fight people, especially people of color, to understand what creativity is and what art is?
Oh, absolutely. It's like I preach about this all the time, and just the value of creativity and art. And I think when you live in a place that it's not so much valued, people don't understand. Like when you start to charge at a certain rate, and if you're in a certain city and you're charging at a certain rate, people don't understand why you do the way you do. But what I've learned, you know, especially when I was like coming up as a photographer, I learned that you had to get out and you had to go where you were celebrating. You had to not stay where you were tolerated, or even just in the sense of being tolerated. Like the place where I live, it's like literally a 3.4 mile peninsula island, and the fashion hub is down there, like in Charleston. But Charleston, I mean, we all know what South Carolina is and the history and all of that, and that stuff still is present in this day, even just in the industry. I've done work with a lot of different companies, you know, fashion brands, celebrities, and stuff like that, and I've never to work with a publication here in my city, and it's like literally 3.4 miles. So, you know, just trying to make people understand the value of photography and creativity and get them to see what it really looks like. You know, it's been a challenge, but I stopped fighting that fight a long time ago. And I'm just like, I'm gonna get on the plane and go where I need to go to, you know, get where I need to be until I'm able to relocate there.
So question, why is it that you haven't worked with any publications in your area?
It's because I'm black. Like honestly,
you see how beautiful that was?
It's so cliche to say, but at the end of the day, this is a place where, you know, circles are formed, and if you don't fit into that circle, you know, you're not reached out to, or if they present the opportunity to be in that circle, I'm not going to conform to what you want me to be in order to be in a place where I'm not really celebrated for who I am and what I have to offer, but you really just want my gift for your publication. I mean, even though, I mean, sometimes throughout this industry, you got to be used and abused to be able to get to where you want. But the value of what they're offering ain't what I'm really willing to sell, you know, my soul for, or, you know, change who I am as a young black creator, you know. So, I mean, it is what it is. And I wish to one day maybe that things will change. It's changing a lot, being that a lot of people from different places are starting to come to here and take over, and a lot of people who were in positions are starting to leave. But I mean, for right now, I'm good, and I got the whole world, you know, out there that I can work with, not just a tiny little, you know.
Got a question?
I'll let you go. I'll go after.
Okay, so you decided to get into fashion and beauty and that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a place that didn't have that. So how did you find your way being where you are? Like, I'm from New York, and I was able to find mentors. I was able to find people that helped guide me along the way. Yeah. What did you do, and how did you do that to get to where you are?
God, like literally, I never had a mentor. Even to this day, I've never had a mentor. And I think what happens is when you live in a place like I live, and it's a million of me's in New York. I ain't nobody special in New York. Mm-hmm. But when you're in a place where I think photography is actually your gift, and it's not something that you just go into as a hobby and you slightly get good at it, when your quality starts to stick out to, like, sometimes be viewed as you don't need help, people don't reach out to you. Even if you reach out to people, people feel that you're also competition. Right. So me being able to see that when I'm reaching out to these photographers for mentorship, it ain't happening. You know, so I say the greatest mentor is the people that you can find elsewhere that, you know, are on YouTube. So YouTube was a huge part of my growth and development as a photographer. Actually going to, you know, look at behind the scenes of Vogue and Harper's Bazaar, and not so much of the fashion aspect that was going on, but how these great photographers were shooting, the way they were angling and positioning lights, the way they were photographing things, their perspectives, their ideologies on, you know, working with, you know, models, and how to actually, you know, be personable, because that's a huge part of actually being a part of this industry and booking jobs. It's not about your work. I mean, that stuff comes, especially today. I mean, we've seen some of these covers, and some of them ain't too pretty. But I mean, if you are a personable person, you're connected correctly, and, you know, you start doing and operating in the way of the industry, it was able to actually help you get further. So being that I didn't have that there, I would outsource with different models who were in different places. And if they were coming to Charleston, because Charleston is a place where they shoot for Belk, you know, and I don't know if they have it out there in Los Angeles or New York, or, you know, so on and so forth, but it's kind of like a Southern foundation company that has kind of started a franchise.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of those people who would come from other cities with different agencies, I would reach out to them and, you know, just start to develop my portfolio. People who would be in the fashion industry here, it's like, hey, we might not have the garments that they have in New York or LA, but if we can take that vision that we have and put it all collectively together, and, you know, and shoot it in that direction of where we want to go in our careers, then we can start, you know, building in that way.
So how did you develop your style? Who did you look up to, since you didn't have any formal mentors? Who did you look up to that guided you to your style that you have today?
Well, before actually doing my research, you know, you do the cut and dry. Stephen Meisel, Patrick Demarchelier, Merton Marcus, Mario Testino. And what I found is that I loved Mario Testino because he sold a lifestyle. He knew how to capture a moment. And that's one thing. And it was all about the eyes. I think so many people miss that photography is like a huge part of a great image is the eyes, that connection, you know, that chemistry. And I found that he was a photographer who really knew how to capture that in the image. And then just Mert and Marcus, you know, by how they sold, and Stephen Klein as well, how they sold sex and sex appeal and sexy and drama. And I always found that to be so fascinating. My style has definitely changed, you know, at a place now where I'm at as a photographer. But I mean, hell, when I move, I'm sure, you know, I'll be inspired by something else that even just what I'm doing now will change as well. But between Mario Testino, Merton Marcus, and Stephen Klein, those were three photographers that I saw and I was inspired by. And I would just, you know, go research their old work and stuff like that and just take it back to mine, or try to take it back to mine and put it in my own perspective.
I understand, because even when you look at the early work of all the photographers you mentioned, even they've changed. And I try to tell people, we all didn't wake up like Stephen Meisel. No. We all had to start at day one and pick up a camera and do this. So let me ask you a question. Did they call you Hollywood out there?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You see this lighting I got right now? I got a 6 lighting setup right now for this interview. I got a doggone, what's this kind of shirt? A silk shirt. But no.
So you ready for Hollywood? So we're waiting for you to get out here. So
listen, I got a Southern heart and a Hollywood persona. But no.
There you go.
I was saying, is there anything you're looking forward to when you move to LA? Anything outside of shooting celebrities? Is it something that's specific, like, yo, I can't wait to do that?
Oh my God. Number one, just the ability to be able to diversify myself in experiences, you know, especially as a Black creator. I think a lot of the times when you live in a Southern state, you kind of somewhat suppress yourself as an individual.
You make yourself smaller to make them feel comfortable.
Yes. And I'm not doing that when I move out to LA. Hell, I barely do it now, you know, but I understand where I'm at, and I understand sometimes where you have to talk to people at to actually, you know, get seen and be heard and get things moving. But when I moved to LA, I just want to be able to connect, build relationships with people, you know, discover who I am even more. That's the whole thing. You ain't even got to say the who. I get that.
Yeah, we'll teach you the ropes.
Listen, genuine relationships with people who are somewhat like-minded, and you can actually do that with. And I know that it's very far and thin, but if you can find those people throughout the bad apples.
And the funny thing about it is you're going to find those people here, and what you're going to realize, the first thing is they're not from here.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Of course.
And the ones who are like genuine and who are cool and from here, it's different. It's just a different kind of relationship. It's a different reality, but it's something that we've been living with for 6 years, and it's just a beautiful place, but it is different.
It's completely
very different.
World. It's different, and it's coming from New York, different. So it's just like I like LA for what LA is, and I think you'll enjoy it. A few things you gonna learn about these celebrities, though. We got
horror stories for you. We got
talk about that.
Listen, my ears are open.
We'll give it to you. We'll definitely give it to you.
So you work for brands. Well, you shot for Harper's Bazaar and Fendi and BET Network. How did you get a chance to work with Fendi?
Oh my God. Well, my friend Madison Bailey, she is on the Netflix show The Outer Banks, and when she first started the show, like, they didn't know that it was going to be a success. It simply was a thing that this is another gig, you know. And we met on a photo shoot that her and my best friend was doing. Me and her end up connecting before all of this happened, and we became friends. So with her filming in the Outer Banks being a place shot off of Outer Banks, North Carolina, but shot here in Charleston, we end up becoming friends. And then as her career like started to progress and grow, you know, you need photos and you need content to actually send to publications, or when publications are wanting to work with you. And being that it was 2020 and it was COVID, a lot of the things that they would want photographed of her, being that she was on set, you know, it would have to be photographed here. And I was already here, so she called me up with, you know, being able to work with the Harper's Bazaar and Shown and all of that stuff, and we ended up photographing that. Then it came to a few months later, Fendi happened to want to work with her on F is for Fendi. And so they sent out the creative process and the vision of what they wanted, you know, these things to like look like and happen, you know, with. And she called me again. She was like, "Hey, Chris, can you do a photo shoot for me? It's for like Fendi." And I'm like, she said it so like just nonchalant. I guess the Hollywood was getting into her at that very moment, that it was just normal. But my little Southern soul, I was like, I kept it cool because I don't, I ain't gonna let it show in the
You know,
face. I was
some
like,
country bumpkin.
listen, oh yeah, girl, I'll shoot. We can set up a photo shoot. But inside, I was like, but that happened. We sent the work off, and they loved it, and that opportunity was something that I thought that I would have to be, even with Bazaar. Like Bazaar, I had to like literally get out my house because I thought I was gonna have a heart attack because it was something that I've always envisioned. Like if
Right.
you go on my Facebook and you just type in anything Harper's Bazaar, I remember when I was 13, not 13, back in like 2013, and even prior to that, I would literally manifest it so hard to like work with these brands. I would be like, it's so nice getting up in the morning. I'm about to go to a Harper's Bazaar shoot, or I can't wait to
Nice.
work with Harper's Bazaar. Like all of this stuff is there. My whole career has been manifestation, and I can't wait till the other parts happen. But it was just crazy that something that I've manifested came to a reality, and I did not have to be. And I think this is for the photographers who are in these southern states and smaller towns as well. You do not have to be in a bigger city for an opportunity to come your way. The bigger cities help the opportunities to be more frequent, but you don't have to be there, exactly for it to happen that way. But when it happened, I was just so excited, and it really helped my career. And with the BET situation, this is crazy. Back in 2017, I was doing like Uber and Lyft, part-time, and I was doing a ride at the airport. And it was just one of those days. I was like, listen, I'm just trying to get downtown. I'm about to meet some of my friends to go and have something to eat. And it seemed like every single ride that I was getting, wasn't a downtown ride. And I was just like, the last ride that came up, I was just like, listen, if they ain't going to downtown, I'm cutting this app off and I'm going home. And I called her. She was just like, she sounds so like just confused and like she didn't know where she was going, where she didn't, it was her first time here. But she was like, I'm just trying to find how to actually get to the terminal to be able to get Uber. I was like, just go to this destination, so on and so forth. So I came around to pick her up, and she was going downtown.
Good.
And we got into the car, and she was like, man, people here where I'm from aren't that nice. So I was like, where are you from? So she was like, I'm from New York City. I was like, man, I'm working to move to New York City one day. And she was like, what do you do? I was like, I'm a celebrity and fashion photographer. So then she said, ha ha ha, well, guess who I am? And I was just like, she didn't look famous. I knew who she was. So I was like, so then she was like, I'm the vice president of UX design of the BET network. I hire the photographers to shoot things for the BET network, the BET Awards, and all that stuff like that. Me and her started to strike up a conversation. We instantly
I bet you did.
Listen.
You said, I'll turn this Uber meter off. Now let's talk.
Listen, out of all the years that I was doing it from like 2017, 18, 16, all of that stuff, like I had people coming in my car who, I had Marlon Wayans in my car before. I had people who came into my car and they said they were like from Los Angeles or New York and they knew these people and they took my, number and card, but no opportunity ever came from that.
Right.
It was just always the middleman. But then to be able to have the main person in my car, and she's just like right here. So me and her struck up a conversation. She gave me her LinkedIn. I ended up following her on LinkedIn. It's like we simply became family in a 20-minute ride. Right. So what was crazy is I messaged her on LinkedIn, and she was like, the typical, hey, Chris, it was so nice meeting you. And I was just like, oh, yeah, this is going to be another opportunity.
There we go. Right.
So what happened was it was another day that I was going downtown, and I literally had my Uber app off. I was getting off of the bridge. Something told me, like, even on the platform that I picked her up on, she didn't request a ride, on that same platform. But I was getting off the bridge, and I cut my app on Uber Premium. And I was just like, let me just make some quick money before I actually go and spend some money. And the first person that came to my actual app was Maureen. And I was just like, this can't be like happening right now.
Wow.
I went to pick her up. She was like, hey, I'm about to go to my aunt and say goodbye and go back to New York and then go to the Louis and Gucci store. She was like, I was going to get this other guy to take me to the airport, but I mean, you're here. Can you? She was like, just pick me up from the Louis and Gucci store at this time and we can go back to the airport. I was like, she was like, how much would it be? I was like, it ain't nothing. Listen, I know that it's rush hour. it's rush hour right now,
Right.
and I'm about to have you in the car for about 45 minutes.
That's all I need, right?
So even before she actually saw my work, she gave me the opportunity to come to New York, meet her creative director at the BET Network, and be able to, you know, have a meeting with them. But then I gave her my portfolio, slipped my iPad in the back. She saw the work, and it was just a done deal.
You sealed the deal.
Right.
Oh yeah, but I
Well,
flew to New York, and that happened, and it, you know, it's the rest from there.
What's happening is, what is your work is magnificent, that bar none. But
Thank
what's
you.
also doing the work for you is your hustle mentality.
Yes.
Listen.
So when you get up to California, keep that.
Oh, listen.
Keep the hustle mentality, because they don't hustle out here.
It's different.
Listen.
It's a different hustle.
It's a lot of this and a lot of meetings.
Absolutely that.
But when you have that hustle mentality, you will always eat.
You know one thing? When I was back in LA back in July, me and some friends that I met off a Clubhouse, and one of my best friends here, that's a photographer as well, I was going to go out to LA just to, you know, be able to try to network, expand my portfolio, and so on and so forth. But then we went there for 8 days. We were downtown LA next to the Cecil Hotel. And I was just like, this week I'm going to hustle and do more than I've ever done in a week. And I was just like, if I have to shoot 3 times a day, I will. If I have to out hustle even my friends just to show them how serious and committed I am about this, I'm going to do it. And then myself said, I said, huh? He said, with everything that you do, you always hustle like you have only a week in a place or less than a week in a place to get multiple jobs done. And I think when you start to go into life or your career like that, at the end of the day, opportunities present themselves and happen simply because, number one, you're busy. And when you're busy, everybody looks.
Everybody wants you, right?
Everybody. But when you just sitting back and relaxing and looking like everything is all cool. Listen, if y'all looking at this right here now, listen, I'm busy. Give me some more work. But at the end of the day, I found that when you look like you're just chilling, everybody look over you. But when you're busy, everybody wants you in their presence.
That's the mantra of Los Angeles.
Yep. So that's my whole ideology when I hop out there. Look, I ain't got no time to play. I got to get this, you know, because, I mean, after I do my years in Los Angeles, I eventually want to move back or have a place as well in New York, just to kind of, you know, be bi-coastal with that. But, yeah.
It's 2 different hustles.
It
is completely different in New York. It's completely different in LA. LA, it will spoil you because, again, because the weather is nice and everybody's like, oh, what's the reason for rushing? Like, why are you rushing? Everything is cool.
Listen.
Like, going to slow you down.
It's going to slow you down.
It's going to slow you down.
And well, I already live in a slow place. I don't need to slow down no more.
Oh, it's funny because we go back to New York and like we have to get like jolted back in place. Oh shit, we're in New York. We can't play. So let me ask you, being where you are, did your family and friends support this career choice?
Friends, absolutely. Family, yes. Until it was a thing of, we see what you're trying to do, but you need to get a job. And
I think we all had that
listen. And then after I flew out to Los Angeles for the first time to work with a gospel artist by the name of Tina Campbell, she was shooting her first gospel album cover. Then they started to see my mom and dad. They were like, okay, this is something. And then when the other opportunities started to present themselves, they were like, okay. And then as it started to progress, they were like, okay, let him do him, and we are just going to support. So it's always been so much support from my friends and family, you know, just all the way to this day.
Because it's hard to have creative conversations with non-creatives.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time one of my mentees got like the Merton Marcus book. She was so excited. And his father's really old, so he sat down with his father. He said, look at this beautiful Merton Marcus book I got. He was like, what is this?
Right. Like, do you know what this is?
I
say, look at this fur coat.
What we have in here? He looked at it. He was like, he's got pictures of women with makeup on. What's the
women with makeup and
naked men? What's
listen? That boy in the little thong. What's going on?
So you have to learn. And sometimes when you have non-creatives in your life, you have to not give it, but push them away because they'll bring you down.
Oh, they will.
They will bring you down with their fears. They bring you down with their ignorance. They'll bring you down.
They just don't know.
They just don't know any better.
They don't know any
because
better.
nobody showed them that there was a bigger life out there.
Oh my God.
For them, in order for people to quote unquote make it, it was like a lottery.
Yep.
Or you had to be white.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was acceptable if you were white. But it's like
pushing and making it happen as opposed to it being a lottery.
So since I'm glad we're going this way, did you find, because you're entering that world or you're in that world, did you find that your race was a benefit or a hindrance?
Honestly, I knew that it was something that wasn't accepted, but I didn't care. At the end of the day, I always went into and still just to this day, bitch, I'm Chris Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
I think you have to have that mindset with a humble heart, I'll say, but at the end of the day, it's like, you have to have that mindset to just, really say, I know I got these odds stacked against me. I'm a fat black gay man going into this industry. And even though it's an industry of, people like me, it still has its things and its barriers that stops me because I am not the ideal looking fit of what people think that should be in the industry, that the doors sometimes won't open. But I think once you go into it, just understanding that I'm not going to be stopped, and that with anything that tries to present itself to me to not let me in that door, I'm going to either kick it down or go the other way, or sneak inside the side window or whatever to get in.
You're getting in by any means necessary.
That part, rather.
So I can see you with your camera right now in that famous Malcolm X photo, and you looking through the window like, I'm getting the fuck up in there.
Listen, just like, listen, we getting in.
I got a question. If you could shoot anyone or your dream client, who would it be?
Oh my God. I would say Uzair Dubo, which is Crazy Eyes, Viola Davis, Oprah, Queen Latifah, Steve Harvey, Will Smith. I would say Charlize Theron and RuPaul.
Oh,
okay. You went from Steve Harvey, Charlize Theron, Oprah, and okay.
It's a whole mixed up mashup.
I can't find out who's missing.
And brands. If you could shoot for any brand, like do a huge campaign, there's no money limit. Who would you want to work with? Who's your favorite brand?
Calvin Klein. Simply,
really?
yes, I love how they sell sexy. I love that it's sexy and just classy at the same time. Dolce & Gabbana as well. Like, I would love to work with those two brands. Simply, I just think, well, the whole thing behind kind of like Dolce & Gabbana, with it being about heritage and family, and me being from the South, and family is a huge thing. I like the backstory behind it, even though it's but I always found those brands to be quite fascinating, and I thought that their aesthetic kind of went with mine and what I was inspired by. So, yeah.
So what separates Chris from his contemporaries, both where you are and worldwide? Like, why? So there's a bunch of us. There's a client, and we got all these portfolios in front of us. And the client goes to you, why should I book you, Chris? What do you bring to the table that nobody else can?
I am the table. No. No, honestly, what I bring to the table is my own aesthetic. I know I have my core competencies that other photographers do not meet. I know how to light the way I light. My aesthetic is the way that I perform, in my vision is what it is in how I create. And I feel that what I have to bring to the table is, simply what Chris is, bringing that thing of my vision of selling a lifestyle, bringing that thing of selling sexy, but at the same time, relatability, and being able to, capture an image at a great moment to be able to have that connection in the eyes, So, I mean, listen, that's it.
And what separates you from your contemporaries where you are? You got to be at the top of the food chain where you are.
But that's the problem. I don't like that, because I like a challenge within. That's why I'm ready to move to LA. Not to ever discount the photographers that are around me, because I have some absolutely amazing creators, and I think it's something so special about the South, and it's a talent about the South. But at the end of the day, what separates me is my background, and the way that I see things, the things that I view, my hustle, my credentials, and the things that I've accumulated so far, thus far, from being able to be in the same space as a lot of other photographers who have been doing this longer than me, who have, the money that I don't have, or the opportunities and stuff like that that I don't have, but I make things happen based off, my hustle. And I always say, listen, you can't out hustle me, because when you playing around and sleeping, I'm working, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. So twice in this conversation, and I'm glad we got here, we talked about lighting, how important lighting is to you. There are 3 books that dominate us out here with regards to lighting. It's you, it's me, and it's Lindsay Adler.
mm-hmm.
They don't fuck with us. So every time I'm hearing people say, "Oh, I got Chris's book, and I got Lindsay's book, and I got your book. Oh my God, I don't need anybody else's book." Let's throw Laura Jade out there. She gets a little love too.
Right.
But for the most part, it's you, me, and Lindsay. What made you want to design the lighting book? And what made you, because I know why I had to do it, but what made you go, okay, I want to put my knowledge and put my knowledge into this material in order to do what?
Number one, I got tired of people asking me how I do what I do, or like the way I light. Listen, at the end of the day, I love y'all, but I ain't got that many, like it's just too much typing. And but what originally like it came from was I had so many different photographers asking me how I lit things, or like what did I use, and so on and so forth. And I was just like, I want to be able to help photographers be educated on how to capture my vision, through a book, be able to see how I create things and how you position lighting, from where being a kid, when I was like on a Friday night, when I could be at a football game or whatever, I'm looking at YouTube, seeing how these like bigger photographers are doing it. So I just wanted to be able to help other photographers be able to create content in the way that I was, but take it to their work and bring it into their own perspective, And then also, I mean, come on now, monetize off of what I do,
Exactly.
Like at the end of the day, I mean, it's all the heartfelt part about it, but you got to make some money behind it. And if your experience and, your knowledge that you have can be monetized, why not do it? So, I mean, I just love to see photographers tag me in posts of like them purchasing it or using it. And I just think that's dope when you can take what's in your, mind, present it out to the world, and then somebody else has the opportunity to, take what you do and remix it in the way that they, desire.
And there aren't many people that look like us producing those kind of books.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Education, we don't have the education. I find that being a photographer of color, that we hoard information because we're so afraid
Yes.
that it's going to take it and it's going to be them,
my style,
it's going to be my style or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a joy when photographers like us decide to give back.
Yes.
They look like us, because everybody runs to Joe Grimes,
Yep.
everybody runs to Lindsay Adler, but
Yep.
nobody was running to the Chris's and the Dallases.
Yep.
Because they didn't know we existed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad we're doing that. But you have some other things going on your page, because I was on your Chris Photos page. You got a lot of other things going on. What other items can people look forward to if they went to your shopping tab on your website?
Oh my God. When you click that shopping tab in my bio on my website, it will immediately take you to being able to see 3 different lighting books I have. I have Light Play 2.0 in a digital book, and also a booklet to be able to, educate, motivate, and inspire you guys on how I get the work that I do. I have also Photoshop and Lightroom presets in packages or individual that go from either 4 to 15 packs, showing you how I color grade the way I do. Then you scroll down some more. I even have a photography candle line, y'all. It is called Photo Candles. And
Nice.
I wanted to be able to give photographers and creators alike the ability to have a studio space to have great scents such as leather citrus, earthy citrus, and spicy fruit. And they're all named after photography, things like megapixel, aperture, and shutter speed. That was just something, that I've never seen done before, that I could place within my brand and really just, give a smell of what Chris likes within a little candle.
So why candles? Like what was the okay, candles. Like it was on the left.
Ain't that far out there?
But I look at it like this. It's still light.
That part. it's atmosphere. You see that candle right there? Listen,
Yes, we
that's
saw
one
it.
of my photo candle minis for $20. But what made me want to start candles is I'm a person that I love candles and cards, you know, and I always desired to be able to have a candle collection, but I wanted something to be authentic to me. And I knew if I was to put out a candle line, you know, just like everybody puts out a candle line these days, and I was just to put a name behind it, it wouldn't be authentic, you know, to who I am. A huge part of who I am is my creativity, my artistry, me as a photographer, and what I'm really known for, you know, at this very moment in that. So I was just like, you know, at the end of the day, put a name on it, give a scent to it, give people and sell a vision to it of what they can have it in their atmospheres, whether it's home or a studio to set the mood. And I mean, it just came about. It was a year process to get made because I was very picky with the smells. I wanted things to be able to be a vegan soy wax candle. Even with the wick, I wanted to make sure that it was something that it could put out a fragrance that wasn't too much, but at the same time, it wasn't too less. So it was a process, and it was something I thought about, you know, for a while and put a lot of work into, and, you know, now it's for sale.
Well, we're happy
Congratulations.
that your hard work and is coming to fruition.
Yes.
Thank you, Tasha. His candles smell amazing.
She's being your biggest supporter in the feed right now.
It's a couple of
that and Annis has been a big one.
Thank
So
y'all.
let me ask you a question. What have been some of your major obstacles that you've had to go through being a Black gay man in where you are shooting what you're shooting?
Oh my God. Number one, I would say, I mean, of course, like I said before, like color. You know, I've been in a lot of places where people have seen my name, Christopher Kavanaugh, and then they see the quality of my work and don't associate that with a Black man. And I've literally went into places before where people, I was supposed to pull clothing for a shoot, and you get there to pull clothing, and a guy had literally told me, "Oh, you aren't who I thought you would be," and then literally turned away from me and it started to ignore me like I did not even exist. But it's just been it's been a crazy process of getting over those obstacles. Hold up, say that again, because somebody alarm is going out like crazy out
No,
here.
we're talking about some of the obstacles you've gone through, being who you are.
Oh yeah, I mean,
because you're unapologetically who you are,
Yeah.
and it's like we all went through the Black thing. We all like, listen, I've been there, so I understand. But it's like, what are some of the obstacles you had to go through? Because these people need to hear it.
Yes. Income. That as well, you know, that's one thing I had to go through and still growing through. You know, I ain't no millionaire yet. When I you know, get to where I want to be, you know, we gonna get there. But just the income of like literally not having the opportunities to be able to have a backing. My mom and daddy wasn't funding, you know, none of this stuff. Like they would help out if they could, you know, but it was up to me to actually go out and get it. Another obstacle, my own mouth. You know, as you probably can see, I'm very boisterous and I am opinionated and I speak my mind. And just learning as I started to get older how to fine tune that, to say what you want to say, but it's in the way you say it of what it is.
Right.
You know?
Because you know that's my biggest problem. It's like,
listen.
Like, no, all right, so what we said.
That part. But even just, you know, being able to say what, you know, just my obstacles with my mouth and learning how to fine tune that. And then also just being able to change my mindset of how I thought about different things, you know, the way that I viewed the world and the things that I aspired to. I think a lot of the times the biggest obstacle that you have to get over as a creator is your own self.
Yeah.
You know, because you can be the complete formula to what the world needs and what is that next big thing. But if you don't believe it, if you don't have the goal and the wit and the push to actually say, hey, I'm gonna do this regardless of what I don't have. I'm gonna take what I have and place it into a place where I can get to where I need to be, then I mean you're gonna always stay where you at. But I mean, even just to the place of the biggest two I would say were money and I mean just like literally myself. That was my obstacles. But I mean, now it's starting to be in a position where you have a little bit more credentials. You have, you know, you're way more financially stable, so things are easier to, you know, get through. But I'm sure when I move out to Los Angeles, I'll have another obstacle. I'm gonna find a way around
Oh,
that
it's going to
too.
be a lot.
It's going to be a lot.
You're
It's gonna be a
gonna
lot.
add traffic to the list.
Listen.
It's believe it or not, just be yourself. I know that sounds weird.
Mm-hmm.
Be yourself as much as possible when you come and you move out here, and find your village and find your community, because it can sometimes feel lonely, and we know people who moved out here by themselves, and they have a really hard time. And people here are cliquish, like in New York, people are cliquish. Same thing. But New York they're more communal. Out here, it's people go from their house to their car to a job, so you don't really meet anybody unless it's
nobody walks the streets out here.
Nobody walks in LA.
It's not the thing.
So it's not like in New York, you're on a train with somebody, you see somebody, oh, that's cool. Where you from? It's not that.
Right.
What's the game we played that we used to?
It's a game, Ellen game, where used to play this.
Oh
game
yeah, you put it on your head.
Yeah.
We would get on the train. He would stand on one side of the train, and I would stand on the other, and we would play the game. And before we got off the train, everybody was playing.
So it's different. Here, like you have to it's
Heads Up. The game's called Heads Up.
Heads Up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a different world out here. It's not a bad thing. It's just different. It's different. It's never bad. It's different, because I also say in LA, you get opportunities just for like, oh, what you do? Oh, you do that? Okay, cool.
What you did for BET, it happens here daily.
All the time.
Yep.
All the time.
So let me ask you this question now: if you didn't pick up the camera, what would you be doing?
Listen, still in LA, because I was going to be the baddest real estate agent up in Beverly Hills.
Oh, it's going to happen. Okay.
Listen, in my Rolls Royce Cullinan, pulling up with a pinky ring to sell you your $50 million, $100 million house. But also within that, I am a huge aviation nerd. So probably flight school or something like that. A pilot, but definitely just from how I am as a person, it probably would have been the realtor out in Los Angeles, and we would have made it to the top some way or something. I like to sell. I like to sell myself, and I like to see people in great things. So it's just like, it most likely would have been a realtor.
Okay, wow, because it's funny. I can't imagine me doing. My mind just goes blank.
Me and music, so I would have been a studio rat like I am now. But
listen,
you got to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question, Chris, and it's a serious one.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been shooting? Let's start with that.
Oh my God. Like professionally, or just always having a camera in my hand?
Let's do how long you've been doing it since you had a camera in your hand, and how long have you been doing it professionally?
Oh my God. Well, I've always had a camera in my hand ever since I was a kid, through just elementary school, like literally kindergarten. I would take one of those little wind-up point-and-shoot cameras to school, and I would document my friends or just what was going around. Then we started to get into the Walmart age of the cheaper digital cameras that you could take, and they were about the size of your phone, and you could take to school. So I would document my friends then, and then I moved up to DSLR and started to still document my friends. So I would say I always had a camera in my hand, but then I started to take it professionally when I was about 15 years old. I got my first paid gig for a photographer, as a photographer, when I was 15 years old, and it was a church event. I didn't want to do it because I had a little point and shoot camera, and I thought I needed to have a DSLR or something like that. Right. But from there, of 15, I went with it, and it's just been at this very moment of 29.
So the true question now becomes, what would you have told your former self? What lessons would you give to your 15-year-old Chris, or even your kindergarten Chris?
Number one, take what you have to get to where you want to be and make it work. Number two, be personable. Like, at the end of the day, I think sometimes, especially as creators, we're not always, some of us are the most, like now I like to consider myself a personable person now, and a people's person. But, you are as great as your connections to people, So speak to everyone. Don't get out here trying to put a face to who you think your opportunity is going to come from. I would say also save your money from 15. And I wish we knew about Bitcoin and all that stuff back then there.
and financial literacy, right.
That part. Also, I would say, it's another one I had in my mind, but my mind goes a million miles a minute.
It'll come back because my
Yeah,
question
it'll come back. But I mean, honestly, it's just like really. Oh, don't shoot everybody.
Oh,
Don't shoot everybody,
there you
because
go.
at the end of the day, you have to. It's vital as a photographer to form a aesthetic and a lifestyle to your brand. Because when you sit here and you shoot everybody and you think that you're gonna start doing this, that, and other things with these brands, it's not gonna happen because people can't see a vision within your aesthetic. You know, you have to shoot for where you desire to be at. You know, you have to shoot people who fit the aesthetic and the lifestyle that you want to achieve and the opportunities that you want to come from your work. So it's like when you're at the beginning of stages, you know, go out and at least if you're going to test with somebody, at least try to get somebody who put effort into it, you know, with who you're working to shoot with. That way you start to build a mindset of always putting effort into those in the aesthetics of, you know, things. But it's so many things I would tell that little knucklehead. But and then also mind your mouth.
No, what is your sign? I know this is something different. What is your sign?
Hold on, I'm gonna let you just get one guess.
I guess Gemini. I was Gemini first, but then
How about you, Dallas?
Leo.
I'm a full-fledged Capricorn, January 1st, 1993.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense.
Well, you couldn't be completely perfect.
Okay, no, it makes
Listen,
sense. It makes sense.
listen, y'all gonna stop giving the Capricorns all of this. But if we were to get into the California technical terms, I am a Capricorn moon. What is it? Virgo and I think a Libra. So.
And you're rising. Okay. Are you ready to play it? So
Okay.
my last question before we go. What has been, well, two more questions. What has been your biggest aha moment coming into the industry?
I rewind that back. I guess it paused.
What's been your biggest aha moment being in the industry?
Oh my God. I think that came during, I would say the biggest aha moment. That no matter how smart you are, no matter where you're from, no matter how good you are, connections are everything. And a lot of photographers put so much effort into trying to think and place in what they think the industry is, but get your butt out there and meet people. Because if you don't meet people, and if I know a lot of creators like to say, oh, I'm an introvert, I like to stay home. If you want to get somewhere in this industry, you need to get your butt out there and meet people. You need to apply yourself. You need to care about the details of the quality of work that you're presenting. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you know, if nobody knows you exist, I mean,
Nobody knows you exist, right?
Yep, you're going to be the best fabulous thing, you know, with a camera
in your living room.
In your living room, taking pictures of mannequin heads.
So here's the last question for all the gearheads out there. What's in Chris's bag? Camera bag.
Ooh, I'm just dropping stuff.
Sound.
Thankfully, it wasn't my camera, but I have a Sony A7R4 with a 50 millimeter 1.8, a 85 1.4 art, and also a 24 to 70 G Master, and a Nikon too.
I'm sorry you shoot Sony, but you know.
Listen, well, I mean, when I come out to LA and I start booking some of them gigs, I finally move over to Hasselblad.
But come to Team Hasselblad.
But right now with my Southern budget, we got Sony.
And it produces $1 million photos. So that's
it
all
does.
That matters. Oh, yeah, Daryl said delete the interview. So, and what do you like? And what lights do you use?
I am right now on Godot's AD600 BMs. I didn't want anything like at this very moment that was just like an investment, simply because number one, it's expensive, and I just don't feel like right now if I go somewhere and I like actually photograph for like a brand, of course you rent stuff, but just in my personal like thing or whatever, just me out shooting, I thought these were great. 600 watts of flash power. I mean, I don't shoot fast and rapid, so the recycle speed is great. So the Godox AD600 BMs, you can check that in my Amazon list. No, I'm playing. If I had a link, I would give you it.
Oh my God. So where can people find you?
Oh my God. You guys can find me over on Instagram at the Chris Kavanaugh. You can find me also on my website, chrisphotostudios.com. That is Chris, CHRISFOTO studios.com. And YouTube also. Head over to my YouTube channel. The link is in my bio. I have a YouTube channel that I'm pushing to place content out for photographers alike who are looking to be educated, motivated, and inspired on how to take your workflow to a whole new level. The link is in the bio. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So head over. We're almost there. We're trying to make them coins before we move to LA and be able to start monetizing. So those are 3 major ones that you can find me at. And I'm so grateful for you, Dallas and Dae, for bringing me on, and the people who have been watching. And I mean, I'm ready to see what LA has to offer and this year has to offer. And yeah.
So the very last thing we do is we have to make a nice face for our thumbnail.
All right.
So count to 3. I'll count down from 3, and you're gonna hold your thumbnail face for 5 seconds.
All right.
You ready? So
yep.
3, 2, 1.
Are you gonna give a serious face though?
Thank you, yo, Chris. It's been amazing that we've had this chance to talk with you.
Absolutely.
You are now a different person to me because you're just another dope-ass black photographer that I had to kill. Now I don't have to kill you.
Don't kill me.
Now we friends.
We assassins together.
So we can be slicing
here
together. But thank you so much for this interview. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for allowing us to give you your flowers for Black
History. Thank you guys as well. Thank y'all.
You have a wonderful night, a wonderful day.
Yeah.
It's day out here.
Yeah, still day. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Y'all too. Y'all have a great one.
Bye.